Chill Squad, what it do? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to talk about this post that I saw here on Twitter yesterday. And by the time I watch, it might be 2 days now. And this says, pastors are more equipped to counsel you through depression and anxiety than therapists. This is from the Bible Bash podcast. And I did have a response to this. And it says, no, pastors should work with therapists for holistic healing in every area. Replacing therapists with pastors is 100 times more problematic than helpful, especially if pastors are not led by apostles or apostolic leadership. And I do want to say this while I'm on camera, I'm going to include general church leadership as well. Now, before we go deeper into this, I'm talking to anyone who is watching my videos, anyone who is subscribed to this channel, anyone who is passing by on this channel, catching me for the first time. Understand this. Please do not go to the Bible Bash podcast YouTube page or their Twitter account and start attacking them from this post. This post has well over 5 million views at the time that I have seen it. Let me go back over here. Yeah, 5.2 million views at the time of this recording. And while it did get them a lot of clicks and a lot of response, and while they are not the most gracious in responding to people in the chat, there's two scriptures that I want those of you who are professing believers to walk in. That is, treat others how you would want to be treated. The scripture says that, not treat others as they deserve to be treated. And two, that you should, matter of fact, no, let's go with the book of John. It says, by this everyone will know that you are my disciples by how you love one another. We all have or had family members who sometimes wild out, and they wild out crazy, both publicly and privately. In many cases, we had to drag them aside privately to let them know it's like, hey, this is not okay. So if you're watching this and if you have personal connections to the Bible Bash podcast, you could talk to them directly one-on-one, then yeah, have that conversation with them with how they're responding to people on Twitter, on social media and everything. That's something that you can discuss with them personally. And if not, we'll keep that in prayer. But I am understanding that this is a public platform, and how the church corrected, they still did things in the communion, and if things were done in public, it was still within the vicinity of the church body. It wasn't amongst unbelievers. So now that we have that established and that said, I wanted to talk more about this statement. And the reason why this statement is problematic is because it disregards mental health as a thing that should be treated by medical professionals. And the disregarding of medical professionals is not even a biblical stance. If we look at Colossians 4, around the last verses, it says, Luke, the beloved physician. He was a medical professional by trade. That means what he did outside of his portion of writing the book of Luke, and even, I believe, writing the book of Acts, he was a medical professional by trade. Just like a blacksmith is anyone who forges swords or forges armor is a blacksmith by trade. Just like someone who tans leather is a tanner by trade. There's people who had different trades all throughout the Bible. Just as a butcher, someone who gets you your meat so you can provide food for your family. They are a butcher by trade. Even the tax collectors, even though they were looked down upon, that was their trade to make sure they could make money to provide for their families. Therapists and doctors are no different. And this stance that, pastors are more equipped to counsel you through depression and anxiety than therapists is almost as problematic as making another statement. If we was to use the Bible, let's just say you're using the Bible, because I'm pretty sure they're using this as depression and anxiety or spiritual matters, and a pastor is more equipped to dealing with spiritual matters than anything else, right? Well, something else is a spiritual matter, if we want to go back in those times, was sickness. So if sickness was a spiritual matter in those times, then that means doctors in those times are not as equipped as Christians, because Christians, or let's say believers of the way are equipped to use divine healing to heal people from all sicknesses and diseases. That is a thing. So do you see how problematic with me saying that statement is? Did any of you cringe by me saying that trusting in somebody to pray over you for cancer, diabetes, or whatever sickness you have to leave your body, high blood pressure, all these things to leave your body, and you're going to only rely on prayer but no medical attention? Do we see how problematic that is? Do we see, or just rely and say the pastor and a Christian is equipped? What tools does a Christian have to make sure that person, their body can regulate outside of the divine healing? And most of all, let's go into a deeper thing that I don't think we're going to really want to talk about. What if said Christian doesn't have the level of faith? Now, going back to pastors, what if that pastor, even though he is equipped for the works of ministry, he does not have the faith to counsel somebody through depression and through anxiety? Because let's give a very real scenario. There's one pastor in the church, and he has a congregation of, let's just say, 70 people, right? That's 70 people, and I'm giving a very modest number. So I'm not even going into mid-level size churches. I'm not even going into mega church territory. We're going to stay in the small church territory. Let's say that there is a congregation of max 70 people, and he averages roughly between 20 and 35 every week, and throughout different holidays. This is, or times when more people are home, kids are home. Well, I'm not going to say kids. Young adults are home from college. You got about 70 people in the church at max, but roughly 25 to 30 on average, right? What if 10 people go to that pastor with depression or anxiety, and he's helping them walk through those spirits each time? Do you know that he is 10xing the level of warfare on his life and on his family's life by doing that? So by him doing that, he has to war way harder, not only for them, but to war against any attacks coming on his home. And in many cases, this is a legitimate study. Y'all can look it up for yourselves. Pastors themselves are at risk for suicide more than ever as the years go on. So if pastors are at risk for taking their own lives and falling into depression, falling into an anxiety, who is protecting them? Which is why, let me go back to my comment. I said, if they are not led by apostles or apostolic leadership, because the apostolic leadership makes sure that there are teachers, that there are evangelists, there are prophets also all around to make sure that the pastor is not taking on more that he needs to. In many cases, you have pastors who are taking on the job of apostle, teacher, pastor, evangelist, and pastor all in one. They take a whole, and they don't even know it. They don't even know it until things start going way left field out of their control. So to say that they're more equipped, that's a problematic statement, because I see this doing more damage. Now, while you may have said this in good faith, and I'm sure you're trying to use the scripture to justify this, I'm letting you know right now it's just not practical. What's more practical is having Christians that are therapists, Christians that are doctors, to work along with the cause. So then when a Christian therapist is working with someone, they could pray together, and that could be a form through spiritual warfare. And because they have actual tools to help somebody, the person who is afflicted is more than likely to overcome whatever they're going through. So that's all I got to say about that. I had to include this with the channel because being purpose driven, and with me acknowledging the Father, the Almighty, in all that I do, I think it's only right we talk about spiritual warfare from a lens that is not so tone deaf, respectfully speaking. So that's all I gotta say on that. My name is Avidan Smith. I help creatives like you live a purpose-driven life and find your unique sound. I know some of you know that I made that backwards. Cobra, you better not say it's the Avidan moment. And for those of you who have not already, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you have not already. If this is rocks with you, this content rocks with you, subscribe. We will be talking a lot more. I'm looking to make content frequently Monday through Friday. So make sure you stick around, and I'll catch you all on the next one. And remember, stay creative, stay innovative, stay purposeful. Peace.